let's come over. Oh, there's a pencil inside there. Where we got to yesterday was, I think, number base on page Taf Resh Tzadi. Let me see what I can do here. And let's see what he says. This is the Or Yakar. So, Rebbe Or Yakar, he says, Shabir Khan Inyan Ka'amar Naki. Now, a question is, just going back just real quickly, the phrase that we're dealing with, which is Mispashtan Asfan the Basav is Kalilu Bezer Anpen, that's part of it. That was the beginning start. And this is starting from Amar Naki, Naka, Kad Tali, Talian, Elin Asfan. So when we talk about, this is the fall of the letters, or the hanging down of the letters. It says like this, he says, the Hinim and his boyer, he says, Hashem is Pashtim Osius Yod Keh and Vav, Shalom Hugas a Kesser, which has to do with the way the Kesser works. This is going to go from Kesser into Zer Anpen Ein Sham. But the Zer of Yava Ata, his Pashtis Azos and Ase Ahide Saros Rosh Eric Anpen, Hanikra Amarnaki. So then he says like this, Shavas Aros Elish Shorshim B'chochbach of the Kesser, which is the Mochas Nimah. Nimshach in the Mocha Chochma, the Zer Anpen, that they're going to come from the Mochas Nimah, ultimately wind up in the Chochma of Zer Anpen. By Yedei Zechem Yislaveshes Ha'han Haga, Ha'el Yonah the Kesser, this is the way that we clothe. Now he has this word on Haga. So he says, on Haga El Yonah, the way that things, I guess, work, but on Haga is an element itself by itself, a word by itself. Let's see what he means by it. Han Haga El Yonah, the Kesser, Bahan Haga HaTachtona, which is Zer Anpen. So I use a Han Haga as like the working mechanism that makes things work in Zer Anpen, or manifests them into Zer Anpen, but then they have some working application. So he says, Ka'amar Naki. V'gila kan sod atzum nifla, really? So he says, what? Ki soda chochma mocha, he igrahan hagas adam, that's the chochma, which he says is actually the mocha, the man, and he's saying go from mocha to mocha, as a coming down towards us. She'ein adam misnageb hada b'chochmasa, b'chochmasa, mocha v'sichlo. These things are all mind words. Being kain sod hatamunas elyonos, so therefore those aspects which are hidden, they come from the very high. Tzrichin anu lomar ki igrahan haga the main place that we want to see. He calls it the tamunas elyona. He says im kain sod Hatamunos Elyonos. So what do you mean by Tamunos Elyonos? Richen anu lomer ki ikra an haga. He said mehochma. Benoda han haga Elyonos shebekasser nifles harbe maod. It's tremendously, awesome. Behind omroch of a mochas timor shuhu sasum below hasaga. So it says like this, that it's unreachable, unpenetrable. Amnam ozahan haga mispashetis the matach episode seir reshe ka'amanaki, which is in the secret of the head, which is also the hairs, which are called amarnaki. Shehem mashpim sod an hagam hachachma hakaduma, which is the mochas timor, elachachma mamish to the chachma itself, which he means in Zer Anpen. This is mamish is where it picks up recognition or physicality that makes it recognizable. So he said Shacha Kesser, which is Eric Anpin, Manhing HaChochba V'Tachtoin, is actually running, that is the Kesser, which is the Mochas Timor in there, what's going on in the world down where we are. That is the world of, then he says, of Zer Anpin, which is the Mashpia. Ayidecha B'Chochba Al also works through the Mochas Timor, but in Solas Aseir, and it works through the agency of these hairs. Hamashpia b'chochba that really causes it to flow. So again, like it's the The Netzach and Hod, he says, is an Or Choser, comes out somehow through the Mochas Limah. There's some aspect comes from this Mochas Limah, and it goes further. It's really a Tzimtzum to go into these hairs and then come down to Zeranpin. Im came kasher yispashet sonan hagas amuach the hindach of a chachma, bakol hasviros, and where you see how things are going through all the spheres, yimata on hagas a chachma al yona, you see how the chachma al yona works. The hinda ayadecha omer naki miskashach kol on haga achas, so that everything becomes like one. So it's a level of oneness attaching to this idea. So again, a double word for falling, but what does he mean? The hainu sod amernaki detalion shemishtalshalos mispashten the mocha mislavet and in that mislaveshes hanhaga b'hanhaga. So the way that things run, the word hanhaga is, I think, tied to the letters Yod Keh and Vav. That's the way things work, but let's see some more. So the next one is at the top, and it says the left column, and he says, V'hindecha be'or yakar kan bir milas the Talion shekul meloshin his pashta b'hishtalshlos. What does Talion mean? Talion means that it's going downward, spreading. Ulam behemshech chazer bir be'ofanim acherim. So he's going to say it in another way. So the shon the shaloch yitzdak be'etzem osius Yaakov. It's not, I don't know, yitzdak. It's not proper to use, or you have the idea be'etzem osius Yaakov that we're talking about that ela bekeser. That place is the only place where we talk about the real light of these three letters that are represented. After the hainu kad tali talian the lo havian osius Yaakov. So he says that as it's falling down, that's what it sounds like. V'nimsha the hainu kad tali talian the lo havian. That's like a little phrase, tali talian v'lo havian osius Yaakov, that you don't have the letters Yod Keh and Vav. They're mamish bekeser. They're not really in keser. Rak b'derek remez belvad. Now, again, what's the remez? The remez is, I'll make up a remez. I mean, what is the remez? The remez is that they're manifest in Zeranpin. Before that, you can't see them because they're unreachable or they're too high of a level. So there's a remez to them because what manifests in Zeranpin, I'm thinking, must come from somewhere. V'hoizech of the na'os the hochi pirusho, kad tali b'hiyos ha'kesed, when it's hanging, b'hiyos ha'kesed b'bechinas elo ha'osius. If you look at it in the keser, is, he says, b'bechinas elo ha'osius, Yod Keh and Vav, meir b'sfiras ha'tachtonas merachok. It shines into them, these sfiras ha'tachtonas, in a distance, at a distance. Dahainu, tali, ke'inyan, v'hoyu chayech toluyin, meneged. So then he has this word meneged. He wants to look at the word meneged a little bit. So he says, Italian gamhan hagazu, shehem osius Yod Keh Vav. So again, it's vague. What does talion mean? Talion, we know that means going downwards. Does it mean that they depend on hagazu, shehem osius Yod Keh and Vav? Edo Einan Misyashvos, but they don't actually reside there. They don't really there. Ella Refufos V'Tuluyas Merachok. I looked up this word Refufos in Aramaic and in Hebrew. It's not an easy word. It means weak, I think. So they're very not substantive. Let's say V'Tuluyas Merachok, and they're hanging from a distance. What does that mean? But the zech of the din, hazech and the asach of the matas on this din, it makes this like down below. No, it makes things up. The zech of etzli iker, and that is what I think is the main idea. Let's go back a little bit. I didn't really understand it. He says, going back, where it says Ella refufos v'tuluyin merachok. there's very little substance. I just think that means that very little substance to that physicality. Whom din will work the word na'asa lamata, so therefore the din, which is din is a construction, is revealed down below. And that's what I think ad kan. So that's a little bit vague. So we'll see a little bit more about this as we go farther. So the question is, what does talion mean? It says, okay, fine, that's the best way. Base is osius taluyan the lo hafkin mamish eliberemis. So he said talion means that we only see, I gave an answer, that we only see the result of them. They had to come from somewhere, but we don't know where. So that's what I think he means. Osius taluyan the lo havyan mamish eliberemis. So number 3 is on Hagas Akeser Taluya Taluya Verofafos Merachok. I guess Rochachok means Rofafos Rofefes means it's hanging Merachok, but from a distance. Okapirish Shlishi Kach Neket or Yoker Sham Ikur Ganal, and he says this third one where this word Rofafos. Merachok, they come from some places that's distant. Not sure exactly how to translate that yet. Maybe we'll get some help. Let's see, do we have a Kaf Hey was a reference to the word meneged. That was according to the word meneged, and it wants to say that meged means hanging down from a distance, that kind of idea. Let's go to number Gimel. Number Gimel says, Rei Bahadras Melech, look over at the Hadras Melech, he says, Shabir Kan Bezel Lashona Ba'omer Naka, Hu Tikun Dalad. So what is he talking about Tikun Dalad? He's talking Beforish Inyan Tikun Zeh, Besefer Hadras Melech, Daf Reshud Aleph, Sof Amad Aleph, Beshar Mamari Rashbi, I'm sorry, and we have maybe a little bit note on that. V'sham heim osius Yod Keh Vav near Mazim b'Taliyah ba'alma. There's only a reference to them, some kind of connection to what's up above. So again, we're back to the word Taliyah ba'alma. What does that mean? Because iska zer anpin. Now it comes and it's revealed in zer anpin. Misyashvan ha'osius, and the osius actually settled there. In other words, you couldn't see them as they're coming down. There's a reference to the fact that they're coming down because they are the qualities of the Yod Keh Vav of the Rosh, of the Mochas Timah. They're coming out of the Mochas Timah, but now they're manifest. We could see them in Zer Anpin. And now here they actually call by that name Yod Keh Vav Ad Kan. Now it's still a little bit hard, so let's go on. So Bira Devarim Ki his boil el is explained up above Divrichan Hadras Melech Be'in his mispashtan asfal nebasar. They go around the back. He said the letters go around the back. V'iskala the Zer Anpin, and they wind up being incorporated into Zer Anpin. The osius Yud Keh Vav the Abba Ve'ima, because those 3 letters refer to Abba Ve'ima, and then he has V'shorish Zer Anpin. He doesn't say Abba Ve'im of the Das. He calls it the Shorish of Zer Anpin. Mispashtim and Echlalim b'mochim chochba b'bina das the Zer Anpin. So the hispashtus part, which is the Shorish of Zer Anpin, when it gets down to Zer Anpin, that's manifest now as Das. The Zer Anpin, Sheyesh B'chem Gam Kem Osius Yud Keh Vav, because there you see the letters Ein Sham. So he says, for the Zeh, for Mavur Kan, the Osius Elu Enem is Yashim B'mochin the Zer Anpin, they don't actually reside or settle into the Mochin of Zer Anpin. Ella Shemiz Galim B'Zer Anpin, but rather that are revealed in Zer Anpin. Oros El Yonas, Ha'aros the Rosh Erik Anpin, upper lights and hairs, that are in the head of Erik Anpin Hanikroim Amernaki, which are called by that name. Kibisaras Amernaki near Mozim Osius Yod Keh Vav. He said there's some reference to those hairs that show you that they're actually contain this concept of the Yod Keh Vav Derek Talia Ba'alma, which is just some kind of a connection as it's coming from up above to down below. So they go downwards, and they go into the Moach of Zer Anpin. And there they actually set up shop. Misyashrim Osius Yud Keh Vav Hanal b'mochin de Zer Anpin, and now they're in the mochin of Zer Anpin. So let's see, we have a couple of notes here. Up above it, it said, B'shar by Mari Rashbi, there's some explanation here, so he wants to try to help us understand that. So let's look at number Kaf Vav. He says, Rei B'shar Mari Rashbi, Sham V'zel L'shono, Inun Omer Naki Talim B'shikula, Zehu HaTikun Revi, this is the fourth Tikun, whose Seir Rosh Shehem Ka'amar Naki, these are the hairs of the head, which have the appearance of white, very clean wool. Lo mistavavim do medo, they're not mixed up with each other. V'talim b'shikula, and they fall down in an equal, smooth way. The lo machim nafik nima min nima, one bundle of hairs does not go out from another, ones are not tangled. The sa'ara min sa'ara, or one hair, the bundles, or the hairs, individual hairs within the bundles are not tangled. Min nimin elu nagid l'mucha dezer anpen. So therefore, from these bundles that are coming off the hair of Erik Anpin, the head of Erik Anpin, they go down the mucha of until they reach the mucha of Zer Anpin. Mimasha moshko nima bezuchim b'muchas mimasha moshekes, that's the word, nima, these bundles zoom b'muchas timor, ki l'kol nima yesh mavu yotzer mechamuch derek hagolgalas. So that translates to be because every bundle of hairs is actually have a flow of the upper, I guess the flow coming from the mochas timor through this Netzach and Hod of Atik, and he said, Mechamuch derek hagolgalas, b'yidei masha moshkim nimin, and by what they are able to cause the flow, these bundles of limim elul zer anpin, mispashet muchechel the lambed beishafilim, that we see that they're spread, these mochim, to the 32 different paths. For the fichov aruchim v'she'im, so therefore they're long. They go down through the 32. They go down through this path. The fichov aruchim v'she'im lahamshech l'mocha dezer anpin, in order to ride through there. Mehachu v'shichu democha, that flow. Now we're talking about a flow does take place, even if you can't see all of them. What we learned up above, he said the list kruma, this kiyuma the mucha the ta alek bikiyuma the mucha law, only if you have the two working together, or they feed each other. So number Kaf Zion, he writes like this. Number Kaf Zion was on the phrase Mizgale b'mocha dezer anpen. He said v'cha'inyin shesaras armonaki, those hairs nimshachin the mata ad mocha dezer anpen. One way or another, there's a connection there between them. And misaknim and mekaimim as the mochin dezer anpen. They're simple enough. Ogumur b'shar ma'mari rashbi. There's one more. This is number Kaf Ches. Let's see what it says. Number Kaf Ches says, it went on the phrase, V'az b'syashim osiz Yaakov hanal b'mochen dezer anpen. He said, V'hine, the Nizbar b'chandras melech, the el, the osiz Yod Keh involved the abach v'imach v'shorsh zer anpen. So the continuous use of that phrase, instead of saying Yod Keh Vav, refers to Chochmah Bin and Das of Erik Anpin. He calls it the Shorish of Zer Anpin, now, which I guess it is. So he says, his misateres ba'oras kruma. So here we have the use of this word misateres again. So Besateris means literally crowns, but I think it means it's bound to it. Ba'oras kruma da avira v'ruach hachotim the Eric Anpen. So it's bound. He says that's for the osius Yod Keh Vav are bound to what's coming out from the me'atrim ba'oras kruma da avira, and also from the ruach that comes out of the nose, the Eric Anpen. That would be the Yud, perhaps, and the K. The Hainu Oz Yud, the Abba, Misater, Bekiter. So let's go over a little detail that he said before. There is some sort of a kitur, which is a vapor, let's say a vapor, that comes out of the Mochas Timah, or called the Kruma, the Vira, the Kruma there. So he says, Oz Yud, the Abba, Misater, Bekitur, HaYotzech, Kruma, da Vira. The Erech Anpen, so it ties itself to that. Those letters, I still don't know what the word misater really, what is it telling me, teaching me? Os hey de ima misater, and the os hey of mima, which we learned previously. Misater beruach hayotzech benekev achotim benikvei achotim comes out of the nostrils of the nose, the Erech Anpen. So that little hay is tied to that. V'oz vav, the shorish, the zer anpin, the los vav, which is really the concept, I guess, of zer anpin. He says it's the root. It's the root idea. Misater bezivug chesed ilo ubutzin in the abba ve'ima. So it ties itself to what? To the upper chesed. I don't know which upper chesed he means. Ilo ubutzina, the Abba Ve'ima into the butzina, which is a contraction of Abba Ve'ima, im calls out, ein osius Yaakov, elamis yashvin, b'mochin, the zer anpen. But with all of this, he says that the letters themselves are tied to the light that's coming out of the Mochas Timah through the Kruma, the Avira. It's tied together, these letters are tied together from lights that are coming from, there's one question that the Yud comes from Abba, and the hay comes from, which is tied down to for the kruma. Let me just get my thing over here. The kruma elor, and from the shorish of das, and from the hay, which comes out of the nose, which is tied to the nose, and also this shorish is coming out from there. Let's go back up over here. All of it is manifest in zer anpen. Ella al yedecha be'oras sa'aros Omer Naki, the Eric Anpin, Kamavur Bakan. So that translation, or that pipeline that comes through the hairs down to the Ezer Anpin, is what we're talking about, bringing it down. V'yesh the ZOHAR Matam Adaber, so explained in this reasoning, Ki Oras Kruma the Chaviva V'ruach HaChotim, which represented, he said, the lights of the concept of the Yud and the concept of the K, the Eric Anpin, in the Nimshachin is their anpen, ela ayidei Abba ve'ima, they only come through Abba ve'ima. Kamo shabir b'hadras melech, le'el, he says over there. Ve'elech b'saras omer naki, but when we talk about the hairs, which are these pure hairs we're talking about, the Nimshachin, the mata, they go down, ad mochin to their anpen, and they reach the mochin of their anpen canal, B'shem Seir Shar Mar Rashbi, according to the V'chet Yesh B'kol Ha'aros Amar Naki, so that all of these lights have this concept of Amar Naki, L'Yashev, and what does it actually manage to do? L'Yashev V'osius Yaakov B'mochin D'Zer Anpen. So the question that I had before was, these are the hairs in the heads of Eric Anpen. There's some kind of a vague, he says, a vague falling from the concept that coming out of the Kruma Devira, coming out of the Moach, which is the Mochas Timah, winding up going into these hairs. What about the beard of Eric Anpen? And over there, previously he said that Omer Naki was the concept of the fourth tikkun. I'm not sure where that came from, what that was all about. Okay, so that's going to be what I'm going to do for this. There was another one I see. Maybe I didn't look at it right. Maybe we'll pick it up next time. And we'll go over to the night rushes now. Be a second, make a little mark here. So this is the 2nd of Shevat. Okay.